Do you liken yourself a good werewolf film? It's been a while since we've had one, although Wolfman's coming out early 2025. But to stave off that appetite, to quench that thirst, we have a brand new film. It's called Werewolves. That's the title of the movie. It's called Werewolves. Hopefully the film's more creative than that. I'm here to tell you about it right now in a spoiler-free review. Let's go. Frank Grillo stars as a no-nonsense, rough-and-tumble guy thrown in a world, thrust really, in a post-supermoon pandemic of sorts where people turn into werewolves every time that moon hits its peak. Before I really sink my teeth into this review, if you wouldn't mind sinking yours into the subscribe and hitting the notification bell so these show up in your feed in the future, I would appreciate it. All right, now let's feast on this film. Now, the movie may throw you for a loop if you see this in theaters because it feels like it's a sequel to something that came before. Maybe the first one was called Werewolf, singular instead of plural. But no, this is a first-time adventure for the fam. And the reason I'm kind of confused is because this movie fires up on all cylinders, almost acting as if you had already seen this movie once before. Now, to its credit, you kind of have with movies like The Purge because it's following that exact same template. Once a year, there's a supermoon and everybody goes into lockdown while people randomly change, transform, and need to hunt for the night. It's Purge in werewolf form. The other reason it's a little bit tricky is because the original title for this film was Year 2. We are in the second year of this happening. Everybody on Earth knows about this occurrence. So we are starting from the middle of the story, not the beginning. We're following main generic character Wesley and his family he's trying to protect. They are the B-plot. They're going to be locked down in the house for the day, for the night, and he's going to be dealing with a super secret experiment going on to see if they can stop the transformations from happening because he works with this company. There's some scientists there, really smart people, and they have developed Moonblock. That's what they call it. They call it Moonblock, which is you put it all over your body. Hopefully it lasts for the night. You take a shot, bada bing, bada bang, bada boom, bada penis. You're safe, right? Wrong. Things go awry. The werewolves get loose. And so you have the ones here at the facility, plus you have the ones back on the home front causing havoc. And so we're going to follow this Wesley character as he fights his way back to his family and hopefully saves the day. This is a very low budget film, but I will say it had some decent effects. It is clear the transformations were a good chunk of the money. They looked impressive early on. The first initial batch of them, I was like, damn, this is very impressive stuff. As it went on, they were slowly hemorrhaging money. It got a little bit Mortal Kombat Annihilation-esque towards the end. Not that level. Nothing could ever top that. But there was still some parts where I thought, we could have probably pulled the camera away from this scene, maybe focused on something else for a second. You are going to get a good chunk of time spent looking at werewolves, but they are very slow. These are guys in costumes, okay? For the most part, we have practical effects. Costume design's good. The werewolves look a little silly. They have really long snouts. It gets a little Jurassic Park raptor-y for a while, but not in like the good way that Jurassic Park does it. More the silly raptor stuff where they're like side profile smiling, like, what's up, Doc? And they got a little bit of a smirk. It's not working how the director wants. It even seems like he watched Jurassic Park right before he made this movie because there's several moments where I felt like he was trying to ratchet up the tension, having people hide under a car while the werewolves are skulking around, smelling him out. I think he's under here, Brox. Brox? I don't know the fuck that is. Hey, Shelly! Look, there's someone over here. I think it's one of those humans. If you're looking for a mindless action film, here's the deal. I watched 3 movies in the last 3 days, and all of them were just so bleh across the board. I didn't outright hate any of them, didn't really love any of them, or even enjoy them that much. Most of them I was kind of waiting for them to just end. Werewolves firmly stakes its claim as a mid-film. Borderline bad. I mean, I'd push it on the bad side more than the good. I definitely would not go see this in theaters. You're not getting your money's worth here, friends. The effects, while decent at times, they just are limited. So you are getting guys kind of slowly lumbering around. They can barely run. There isn't much threat to these creatures. They don't move like animal-human hybrids. They're just kind of there, oftentimes just howling and looking menacing, but not looking that menacing all the same. Our lead character, while certainly jacked as shit, doesn't really bring much else to the table. You know, he just kind of looks cool, and that's it. There's one-liner in the whole thing, I believe, and it's in the trailer where he says, "Bite me." It had about as much lasting appeal in the trailer as it did in the final film. So if you thought, wow, this looks great, and you kind of laughed and thought that was cool, maybe you'll get something out of this. But action-wise, it's very mediocre. There's hardly any battle scenes or vicious combat. There's not much blood and gore. It is rated R. I was expecting some awesome kills. Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey 2 had better kills than this. That's just depressing. If you were thinking to yourself, man, it's been a while since we've had a strong female lead in a werewolf film, you'd be right. And quite frankly, it's about time we get one again. And we do, because we have one. We have a couple here. One who gets... I can't even say it. There's some really stupid shit that happens in this movie where I was just scratching my head like, what the how? What happened here? Actually, I'm going to say something, okay? Plug your ears if you want. One character, I won't say who, during a battle scene, and out of nowhere, a werewolf hand reaches down from the heavens, plucks her out of eternity. It was hilarious. And even the good guy's looking around like, what the fuck? This doesn't even add up. There's nothing above me. There's no scaffolding. How did this werewolf hover above us, pluck her out of the ether? It was just silly. Back on the home front, Wesley's sister, I believe her name is Amy. Whatever, it doesn't really matter. She's trying to keep her daughter safe. Amy's at home with her daughter, just trying to keep her safe. They've gone over the playbook a million times with Wesley, Wes for short, of course. They've boarded up all the windows, they've barricaded the door, they have an electric fence, they have a psychotic neighbor who's definitely not going to become their enemy later. And yeah, everything's going well. But later on, you know, they are going to get attacked, and she does have a shotgun. Constantly, she's talking to herself and making one-liners to no one else in the room, mugging at the camera. It's just eye-rolling shit. And I think my favorite part is she manages to waste every single shotgun shell on nothing. She's just wandering around the house. What are you shooting at, Amy? What the fuck are you shooting at? And then eventually like, oh shit, I'm out of bullets? How could this be? Stephen C. Miller, who directed this film, not only watched Jurassic Park, but I believe he watched the entire J.J. Abrams catalog, because this movie is riddled with lens flare. The whole film is lens flare. There are lens flares coming off lens flares. I saw a lens flare mother walking her baby lens flare down the street at one point. It's just lens flare, lens flare. I almost put on glasses at one point. It was so blinding. It's just insane what he's doing. I'm assuming it's to mask some of the lower budget look of the film, but Jesus Christ, calm down, sir. You don't need that much lens flare. The movie didn't look that bad. It actually looked pretty solid. We're grading on a curve, of course. So to summarize, we have pretty mediocre kills, not a ton of action. It does move fast. It's an hour and a half. It is rated R, but I don't think it's that gory. It's certainly not that impressive when it comes to the gores or kill count. There's just not a lot here. It feels like a movie that should have gone to streaming services, but somehow weaseled its way into the theaters for a release. Yeah, let me know though. I was not impressed. Leave a comment with your thoughts, good or bad or otherwise. Please like the video and subscribe if you haven't. I post content every single week. Would love to have you stick around. If you wouldn't mind checking me out on Patreon at patreon.com/AdamDoesMovies. You don't need to sign up now. You can sub over there for free and just kind of keep an eye on what perks are showing up and when. And then maybe down the road, think about pulling the trigger, shooting that silver bullet in my direction. I would appreciate it. All right. Hopefully I catch you next time. Take care.